folks, welcome to EDU 5202, and to any new students in the class, welcome to U Ottawa. I just wanted to take a few moments to show you around our virtual classroom space here, which is hosted on Brightspace. So to log into our course, you can go to uottawa.brightspace.com, which is how I got to this page. To get there, I usually just Google U Ottawa Brightspace to take me right here. You'll be asked to sign in with your U Ottawa student email and your password. And once you log in, you'll be taken to this central hub, which should display all of your courses. This will look slightly different depending on what courses you're taking. To get to our course, you just click on EDU 5202W, Teaching Strategies for HPE. My page here might look slightly different than yours. I do have it set to student view up here, but sometimes the faculty version still looks a little bit different than yours. I'm not sure if this is an option on the student version, but on my version, you can hover over courses and these three little dots show up in the top right corner. And clicking on it gives you the option to pin a course to the top of your courses section here, making it easier to find the courses that you're in a given semester. I've done this here with our course for this semester, and you can unpin a course once you have finished it by once again hovering over top and clicking on the little push pin to unpin it. So if we click on our course here, this takes us to the home page for 5202. And this should be what it looks like on your screen. Every time you log into our classroom for 5202, you should be taken to this course homepage. Here you'll be able to see the latest announcements from me, links to different parts of our courses, such as my virtual office, the syllabus, and our modules down here at the bottom. And along the right here, you should be able to see a course calendar, which shows you all of our upcoming assignment deadlines. So let's start off our little tour here by going along the blue bar across the top here. So if you click on the course name here, which is the leftmost item, it will take you back to this homepage. And then content takes you to our actual course content and our modules, but we're going to come back to all this when we finish going through this navigation bar. The next section is discussions. Here you'll be able to find a list of all the different discussion forums we'll have this semester. You'll also be able to find links to them in the appropriate modules, but given that there's 12 modules, sometimes just going to the discussions tab here can be a little bit faster to find a specific discussion forum that you're looking for. The next section is assignments. So here you can see all the assignments for our courses, including the completion status, your score, the evaluation status, and the due date. Some of these I don't have a due date listed for because things like the RLT get submitted on an ongoing basis. Clicking on the name of an assignment should take you to some information about the assignment, which I've just taken from the syllabus. Come on, there we go. You can also submit your assignments here. The next section over is grades. So this is your grade book where you'll be able to see your grades on assignments. And some of you, when you go in and look at this now, you're going to see that you already have marks for our survey and introducing yourself. Next up is class progress. I'm not going to click on this one because I'm pretty sure even on student view it shows a list of everyone in the course, which I obviously don't want to publish for privacy reasons. On my version, this is a space where I can check to see things like if you're logging into the course, what posts you've looked at, a summary of any posts you've made online, your assignments, your grades. So for me, it's kind of a general hub to get a sense of where you're at in the course. And I believe on your version, it also does something fairly similar. And then if we drop down here for more and we go to announcements, this is where you'll be able to see all of the announcements that I post. So on our initial homepage, I'm only going to probably pin the two most recent, but this will have an archive of all of the announcements that I've made in the course. And then the course calendar shows us upcoming tasks and when things are due. And now we're going to make our way over to content here, and we're going to make our way down the sidebar on the left here, which is where all the fun stuff is in the course. So this overview page here is what I was using for my initial welcome page and posting content prior to us getting started. And then on the next page is Bookmarked Topics. I don't know what this is, and I've never used it before. Every semester I say this is the semester where I'll figure it out, but I never do. So if anyone knows what this is and how to use this, just let me know. Next up here is our course schedule. So it's a similar function to the calendar along the top. The next folder down is the table of contents. It shows everything for the course listed below, and my overview page too, I think. I personally find this section really overwhelming and difficult to navigate, so I personally don't use this feature on Brightspace. As you can see, it lists absolutely everything. It doesn't look super overwhelming right now, but as more of the course gets released and you can see everything, I find it very difficult to navigate through, so I personally don't use it. But if it works for you, it's there. The next section down is my virtual office, which has a brief bio about me. It has my contact info, so you can email me. A link to my YouTube account here, which has tons and tons of videos on teaching and learning. And then after that, we have our syllabus, which contains our class syllabus, and you can download it here. And then after this, we have our modules. So right now, as you can see, I've only published 1 through 3. I do have other modules. If we switch out of student view, go back to content here. So as you can see here, we do have other modules that are forthcoming. But I'm going to release these once we've decided on our teaching teams, who's teaching what topic on which week. But I'm going to switch back into student view so I can show you an example of a module, because I've laid them all out the same, so there's a lot of consistency between them. So each module will start off with a title, the module number here, and the date range. And then I usually have some sort of image just to make things look a little more inviting and exciting. After this, I usually have some sort of introductory paragraph outlining our goals for the week, main topics we're covering, things like that. And then this is always followed by the same sections. You'll have a Motivation Monday, Readings and Reflections, Presentation, Learning Lab, and then with the exception of this first module, you'll also see Submit an RLT and additional resources. So maybe we'll go into Module 2 for that since I have them all there. Perfect. So here you can see once again, it follows the same format as the previous week. Close some of these. There we go. So Motivation Mondays. So this is a section where I post an optional activity to get you excited for the module. Usually it's going to be a video and some reflection questions. These are completely optional. You do not need to submit anything to me for this. You don't even need to do them. But they are kind of a fun way to get into the mindset for that module. And some people like to use them as icebreakers in their discussion teams, but they are optional. And then readings and reflections. So this will have our readings put here for the module. And once again, I usually will also have some optional reflection questions for you to ponder while you are reading. And then below that, I have presentations. So if there's any video presentations I've put together for a module, you'll be able to find them here. Some of my videos are closed captioned, so they have subtitles. If they aren't closed captioned, I will include a slide deck with my presenter notes so you can read along with what I'm saying. Following this is the Learning Lab. So this is where our activities for each module will be. So for this week, it's our Getting to Know You survey and introducing yourselves. Next week in Module 2 here, it's creating a mind map on a learning theory. And this is where the artifacts for your reflective learning tool will come from. It's stuff you're going to be doing in the Learning Lab. And while I post the activities for each module in this section, your group doesn't have to actually do your discussion here in the Learning Lab section. So normally you'll see a link to a discussion forum right down here. I haven't posted it yet for Module 2 because we don't have our groups yet. But normally there will be one, but you don't have to have the discussion there. You are more than welcome to meet off of Brightspace, such as on WhatsApp. That tends to be quite popular in my classes. You can also choose to meet synchronously with your group using something like Zoom or Microsoft Teams. If your team does opt to meet off of Brightspace, do have one person on the team just shoot me a quick email so I know that you're having your conversations elsewhere. If we continue down, we have Submit an RLT. And this contains a hyperlink to the RLT for that module, should you choose to submit one for that module. You can also find all the links to these in our syllabus. And additional resources is a section where I'll post things like additional videos or readings that are related to that module that you might find interesting if you want to learn more. This could be helpful if something really piques your interest in a given module and you want to know where you can learn more. For Module 1, this week we don't have any additional resources, but as you can see here in Module 2, you're going to start to see this section get populated. And if we go back up to our modules here, you'll see at the bottom there's a link to assignments. So this section is this section has descriptions about each of the different categories of assignments. You'll notice that it isn't detailed here as in the other assignments section along the top here or in the syllabus, but what you can find here are some exemplars, such as I have some examples of the final project that you can take a look at from previous students. You can also find some examples of reusable digital learning objects here if you want to get an idea of what this could potentially look like. You can also find submission portals for some of these assignments if it's applicable. So here is where you can submit your final assignment. And that really is it for our virtual classroom. If you have any questions about navigating our classroom, just shoot me an email or you can leave a comment down below.